Jay-Z threw a 30th anniversary concert at Yankee Stadium, and then his own family turned it into something nobody was ready for. Here's the setup. Friday, July 10th, Jay-Z is celebrating 30 years of Reasonable Doubt, the album that started everything for him, with a massive show at Yankee Stadium in New York City. The crowd is already there for a landmark night, but what they got went well beyond a nostalgia trip, because Jay-Z, as it turns out, had a few people waiting in the wings, and the first one to walk out wasn't just anybody. The very first song of the night, not the encore, not a mid-show moment, the opening, and Beyoncé is already on stage. They duet Can't Knock the Hustle together. And if you've seen the social media footage that's been circulating, you know the crowd absolutely lost it. Think about that choice for a second. Jay opens his own anniversary show by sharing the first song with his wife. That's not a cameo, that's a statement. He's saying, "This story has always been bigger than just me." It sets the whole tone of the night before a single verse is done solo. But if that was the opening act of the family moment, what came next is the part people are still talking about. Later in the show, Jay-Z brings out his 14-year-old daughter, Blue Ivy. Not to wave at the crowd, not to stand next to him for a photo op. She sits down and plays piano during a rendition of Feelin' It, and when the song ends, Jay-Z turns to the crowd and says, according to social media footage, "Make some noise for the legendary Blue Ivy Carter." And then, the two of them share a hug on stage in front of a packed Yankee Stadium. I'll be honest, that lands differently than a lot of celebrity parent moments we see. There's no manufactured spectacle there. It reads as genuinely warm. And the show didn't stop there for the family thread. There was also pre-recorded footage shown during the concert of Blue cutting Jay-Z's locks. A moment that actually has a whole backstory attached to it. According to a YouTube video Beyoncé narrated for her Cécred brand last month, Jay-Z originally grew out his hair specifically to show Blue that her hair was like his. The reason? Beyoncé explained that when Blue was 5 years old, she wasn't feeling confident about her own natural hair. Jay-Z's response was to grow his out, to make her feel seen. That's the context behind the footage they played at the concert. So what looks like a fun behind-the-scenes clip is actually the closing chapter of a years-long story about a father and his daughter, about identity and confidence. The fact that Jay-Z chose to weave that into a 30th anniversary celebration of his debut album says a lot about what he wanted this night to actually be about. Now, there were other surprise guests. Alicia Keys and Nas also appeared, which on any other night would be the headline. But I think the real creative choice worth paying attention to here is the one the show's designer, Willo Perron, laid out in a piece for Wired. Perron said Jay-Z specifically didn't want an ostentatious setup. He wanted to recreate the kind of stages he performed on early in his career. Stripped back, people feeling like they're on stage with him. The quote Perron gave was, "This is more about storytelling than it is about stage design, and that framing is key, because every surprise guest, every family moment, the pre-recorded footage, all of it fits that logic." This wasn't a greatest hits spectacle with pyrotechnics and a runway. It was Jay-Z saying, "Let me show you where I came from and who I've become, and let my family be part of that story." So here's where I land on this. The Beyoncé duet opens the show. Blue Ivy plays piano and gets introduced as legendary by her own father. The locs footage closes a loop on a private family story that turns out to have always been about love and self-acceptance, and the whole thing was designed to feel intimate despite happening in a baseball stadium. That's a hard balance to pull off. And by every account from the footage and the coverage, it worked. The concert became less about commemorating an album and more about showing the full arc of a life, which honestly might be the most Jay-Z thing he's ever done. So tell me, what hit you hardest about this night? The Beyoncé surprise opening, Blue Ivy on piano, or the story behind the locks? Drop it in the comments and subscribe if you want more moments like this, broken down the way they deserve.